Hello, Ken. This is my post-game analysis of the Michigan State versus Purdue game, and it was not at all what I was expecting it to be. Before I get into my analysis, remember to like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell down below. I greatly appreciate it. I thought I'd do a little bit more of a stripped-down version in this video. I did away with the the video game playing in the background. You can see my little bit of a messy office space that I'm working in right now. But if people like this stripped down version more, if they found the video game to be a little bit too distracting, if you find this background that I'm using right now too distracting, then let me know. I mean, it's easier for me to strip things down. So if that's what people like, then that's what I'll continue to do moving forward. And if you just want to see a little bit more of me in the office space, then I'll clean things up. Maybe hang something on the wall or what have you. But yeah, I just thought I'd try something a little bit different. So leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm heading in the right direction. I'm always open to criticism as long as it's constructive. I don't got a problem with that at all. Okay, my analysis. Let's get down to it. I was way off. I was way off. I was predicting Michigan State to win big. And quite frankly, I still think they should have. Purdue came out with a great game plan. They executed it really well. So I don't want to take anything away from the Boilermakers. They played really well. But I feel like Michigan State had some opportunities that they let get away from them. I feel like, I don't know what it was with the play calling. I think we fell in love with the pass a little bit too much. I mean, it's not that Peyton Thorne had a bad game, but Kenneth Walker only had 23 carries. I'd like to see him get a little bit more. I think he should at least be getting 25. And I know what you're saying. Well, 23, that's not that far off. It's only 2 more carries to reach the 25 minimum. Yeah, that's true. But you also have to consider the fact that on any given carry, he can rip one off for 60, 70, 80 yards for a touchdown. So those 2 missed carries could have been 2 potential huge plays that never even got the chance to happen. So you could say that about any play, really, but I think 23 carries isn't quite enough. Kenneth Walker should be 25 and up in the amount of carries he gets in a game, and he was running well. I don't think they went to him enough. 23 carries, 146 yards. That's a 6.3 yard per carry average, only 1 touchdown, but still, that's a good day on the ground, and they just didn't ride that enough. I think they should have gone to that like they did in the Michigan game the previous week. Last week they were down going into, late third, heading into the fourth, and they're down. And what did they do? They stuck with the run game, and I think I would have liked to see them do that in this one as well. You were down, similar situation. You're down late third, early fourth. Hammer the football and let Kenneth Walker do what he does. He is capable of making big plays, but he's not going to make those plays if you don't give him the opportunity to do so. So I felt like, excuse me, I got a sneeze coming on. I felt like if there was one thing that I could point to offensively where I think Michigan State could have done things a little bit differently from a play calling perspective, it would have been stay with the run a little bit more. You got to give Kenneth Walker his opportunities, and great things are going to happen. He's the Heisman front runner right now, and he should be. He's an amazing running back. He's incredible, and 23 carries, quite frankly, just isn't enough. I know they're keying on him. I understand that, but everybody's keying on him. And he's still doing great things. So you got to give him more carries than that. Give him the opportunity to make those big plays. And another thing to point to offensively is somebody else other than Reed has to step up now that Naylor's out. Trey Mosley, quiet day. Foster, quiet day. Connor Hayward, quiet day. Jaden Reed was just bracket covered all day. So of course he wasn't going to get a lot of receptions. And even with that bracket coverage, he was still putting up better numbers than the other guys. Somebody else has got to step up and play better. That was not a good performance from the wide receiver core. Connor Hayward, 3 receptions, 52 yards. Trey Mosley, 3 receptions, 44 yards. He did add 2 touchdowns. So, not an awful day, but definitely need more opportunities. Foster, 3 receptions, 33 yards. Jaden Reed led the group with 4 receptions, 73 yards as far as yardage and receptions is concerned, and he's being double covered all game. So that's someone else is going to have to step up. With Naylor being sidelined with an injury, he ain't coming back anytime soon. Somebody else is going to have to step up, or teams will continue to just play in the box and do everything they can to stop Kenneth Walker. So those are 2 things offensively that I would point to where I think things really fell apart for Michigan State a little bit. Defensively, I'm going to say there was a bit of a letdown game for the defensive line. I didn't think the defensive line played that well at all. It's easy to point to the defensive backs and say, you know what, you weren't covering anybody. You guys were getting roasted again for the 2nd week in a row. And certainly criticism can be lobbied at that group, definitely. They haven't played well the last couple weeks. Injuries in this one didn't help. Guys were getting knocked out of the game. They'd be out for a while, then they'd come back if they were cleared to play. So there were guys shuffling in and out. Younger freshmen were being called on to help in spot duty because of those injuries. So it was a bit of a mess in the back end, but your back end is never going to look good if your front guys can't get pressure. And that's really, I think, the difference in this game is that there just wasn't any pressure being applied to Purdue's quarterback. Aiden O'Connell could just stand back there and wait for his guys to get open. And I guarantee you those guys are going to get open. They're really good. They have a good wide receiver core. No doubt about it. Only 2 sacks on the day for our defense. That's just not enough. It's just not. 0 quarterback hurries. The defensive line had a letdown game, big time. I thought they played outstanding against Michigan, and then this one, they disappeared. Nowhere to be found. Maybe still riding that win over Michigan. I'm not really sure, but it wasn't good. It was not. They did a good job stopping the run, sure, but that's not where you were getting killed. You could not. It's. I don't want it to feel like I'm like, it's all your fault. You guys were the reason, because they did do a great job stopping the run, but you can't be one-dimensional like that. If your defensive line isn't getting pressure, then you're going to have a long day, and that's exactly what happened. There just was no pressure. Aiden O'Connell had all the time in the world to throw those beautiful passes to his athletic wide receivers. So it was a part game plan. Purdue had an awesome game plan, and we did not adjust at halftime. We looked like Michigan last week when we beat them. That's what we looked like. We came in. And things weren't going our way early, though it was a little bit back and forth. It was a 21-14 at halftime, so it's not like we're out of it by any stretch of the imagination, holding our own. But Purdue continued to attack us in the second half the same way they did in the first, and we didn't have any answer for it. No answers for it. That's unacceptable. Expect more teams to attack us in the flats. That's a weakness. We were getting burned so much in the flats that on numerous plays, it looked like our corners were just standing still while the wide receivers for Purdue were just running past them. And that's because they had to. They were not getting any help out there in the flats, so they had to make sure that it wasn't going to be some sort of curl route or somebody was going to get the ball in the flats, that they would have to step up and help. So, yeah, they were standing still because they're left out there on an island with how do you expect them to perform well in that situation? You're not giving them safety help over the top, but you're also asking them to play down in the flats. That's a tough draw. That's too difficult. You've got to be able to spread your defense out a little bit more. That's just it. We outcoached Michigan, and Purdue outcoached us. It's that simple, really. Some of those things will be hidden or not look as bad if the defensive line gets pressure like they were against Michigan. We just didn't have it this game for whatever reason. It just wasn't materializing, and we got shredded through the air for over 500 yards again. So Purdue's offense was too much for us to overcome, and things just didn't go well. I don't want to say that necessarily we were still riding the high of the Michigan game, but I think situationally, there were some players that were just not in it today, just not in it. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you do not show up for any team in the Big Ten, if you don't come to play, they'll beat you. It's that simple. It's that Illinois just beat Minnesota. There is no team in the Big Ten, especially now that Rutgers and Maryland are starting to get going. I don't feel like there is any team in the Big Ten that you can just show up and expect to win. It's not like that anymore. You better bring it every single week or you're going to get beat. And, we didn't bring it this week. It's a tough loss. It is. We had the world was our oyster. We had everything in front of us, and it's just a bad loss. You can't. Purdue's a good team. Don't get me wrong, but ouch. We're not out of it. We're not out of it. If we can find a way to win out from here, then we still got a shot for sure. So don't count us out yet. We need to rebound, much like Michigan did against Indiana. There's been Ohio State lost early on to Oregon. They bounced back. We got to do the same thing. This is no time to pack it in, hang your head, and say, that's it. It's over for us. That's not the case at all. Still got everything to play for. Everything is still in front of us. I feel like we still control our destiny. If we win out, then we go to the title game. Because we'll have the tiebreakers against all the main players now, So losing this game to Purdue hurts, but we're definitely not out of it yet. You go and beat Penn State, you go and beat Ohio State. Even if Michigan were to win out in that case, we'd still have the tiebreaker against them. So we bought ourselves a little bit of cushion with that Michigan win, but now it's back to playoff mentality. You've got to win out, or you're gonna be sitting at home for that championship game. So we got to get things corrected. Defensive line's got to wake up. I think we need to ride Kenneth Walker a little bit more and bounce back. And I expect this team to do that. Mel Tucker is going to be in their face. He's going to get things corrected. He's going to get them to show up next week. And yeah, I don't think this one will hang over us for too long. We gotta turn this one around quickly, and we get an opportunity to do that this coming weekend. So it sucks. It's a tough loss. Purdue came out with a great game plan, and we didn't adjust to it at all, and we just didn't bring our best effort. It's that simple. That's why they play the games. It happens sometimes. Even Alabama fell to Texas A&M. So sometimes you just have a bad game. We got to put this one behind us. We got to move on quickly. And like I said, if we win out, then it's all still in front of us. So you take your lumps, you put it behind you, and you move on to the next one. That's all I got on this one. Short and sweet. I'm going to do it on time. 12 minutes, 13 minutes. Not bad. We'll wrap it there. I'm not going to be too overly critical. It's tough to go and win against your rival, and then to turn around the next week and play a team like Purdue, who has been so streaky. They come in some games and they look like world beaters. They come in some games and they struggle and they don't put anything together and they lose to bad teams. So they've been up and down this year. But it's just you got to move on. You got to move on. Put this one behind you. Accept the fact that you didn't bring your best effort and use it as a lesson. Learn from it. Put it behind you. Get ready for the next one. That's all I got for you. Remember, all love, all the time. Peace.